Hi everyone, welcome. We're down here in my wormery and providing a point of view that I normally don't from this angle, from the far end of my workbench, where I store a whole bunch of my not ready for prime time materials, my little supply of cardboard stuff such as toilet paper and paper towel rolls, a whole bunch of eggshells that have been laid out here to dry before I stack them up inside my repository, my eggshell repository. I've even finally replenished my supply of paper. For a while there, I didn't have any newspaper on supply, but the reason I'm down here with my mobile phone to film is because a lot of people express interest in my gardening stuff, and it kind of makes sense. A lot of people come to my channel because they're interested in seeing how I'm doing my vermicomposting stuff and creating the nice castings that I use to plant my garden. And I figured since I'm already down here preparing to get to work on some of this stuff, I thought I'd just grab the phone out of my pocket and arrange things here a little bit in an orderly way, just to show that I've got a whole bunch of different seeds all set to go here. And I don't know, it's backlit, so it might be a little difficult to read some of the names of these seeds, but these seeds came from Hungary, and they were a gift from one of our relatives here, one of my who was it, my brother-in-law's cousin. So she's a relative, and she bought me, because she knows I love to garden, she bought me a whole supply of different types of lovely Hungarian pepper seeds, and these things have been germinating for I think 12 days now. So I've taken my typical approach to germinating my pepper seeds, which is to place them into a damp paper towel, fold it in half, and then place that into a plastic bag so as to not allow them to dry off. And then I went ahead and I placed them on top of one of the pieces of ductwork down here in my basement, providing them with a nice supply of warmth over the past 12 days so that they can germinate quickly. Because it does help, you give pepper seeds a little bit of warmth and they germinate pretty quickly. Otherwise, they could take a long time, and they take a long time if they're old. So, between the fact that these are brand new seeds and they were provided a nice amount of warmth to help them germinate, they're coming along good and they're ready to be planted. So, with that in mind, I took all my seed trays and I looked them over first, because knowing that I'm going to have to put water into these to water them from below, I did a little water test, and the two that are here, these two trays they're the newer ones and they're waterproof. Now I like the way I've got these arranged too. It gives me nice round numbers. I've got 9 on one half, 16 on the other half, so each tray has 25 spots in it. Combination of big and small spots. So these two trays, they're in good shape. They didn't leak, so I knew I could trust them. I even put water in them and they held water no problem. It's these two older ones. It's the two older ones that are riddled with holes. So I took some trash bag and I chopped it up big enough to be able to drape it inside of each one to give each one a little diaper. And now I feel like I could, water these from below without any risk of the, water just coming out at the bottom, out through all the many holes that I could see on the bottom. I could see light coming through, so I know that there's holes there. I didn't even need to water test these two. So, in order to fill them up, I've got my trusty little green pail here. We've actually run worm bin out of these, out of this pail here. Not a pail, it's a tray. It's a little green tray that I've run as a worm bin in the past, but you can tell it's not too big, but it's big enough to, enable me to create a nice potting soil in here and to work pretty comfortably out here on my bench and fill up. I guess I'm going to fill up a couple of these trays so that I can get some of those seeds positioned. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to head on over to this little supply of materials that I've set up to create a mix, a little bit of a potting mix. Not just the straight potting mix that you see in the bag over here, but it's going to be a mix that combines some of the store-bought stuff along with some of my nice vermicompost that I've got in storage here inside of one of my tubs, and a couple other things that I usually include in my mixes. It's a little bit of kind of general purpose plant food, which I don't even know how important it is for seedlings, but a little bit of that I usually throw in there, as well as the perlite. And the perlite is like it's a type of stone that draws moisture into itself, and it kind of holds on to the moisture to help the material stay nice and damp. So I was about to get to work on this stuff. I just thought I'd give everyone a quick view into how this stuff works here in my gardening setup. So maybe I'll just fire up the camera once or twice more, just to let everyone see how things are progressing down here as I get to work on it, and hopefully I'll have this stuff all planted in short order. So on with a glove and time to get to work. As you can see, this stuff turned out really nice. So the filling up of the cells is in progress. What is that? We got 5 down, 45 to go. The store-bought stuff had some chunks of wood in it that I needed to pick out along the way. But since I was stirring it by hand, it was pretty easy to keep it all nice and clean and fine. So you can see I'm in the home stretch now. Getting there. Yeah, how do you like that? I even have enough to transplant this crazy looking thing. All I had to do is remove it from this pile of hot melt glue, peel off some of this old stuff, and it's getting a nice new home. In some cases it does seem like the sprout just sort of grew right through the paper towel. So in order to prevent damage when I'm moving them into their individual little cells, I am prepared to just snip that piece of paper around the seedling so that I could just take the little piece of paper that it's embracing and just plant it together with the seed. And you know, just to keep track of where I'm positioning stuff, I've got my little legend. So as I find a home for each of these little seedlings, I'll record where it was placed. And pretty soon it'll be time to find a spot for all this stuff underneath my grow lamp. So now I'm going to prep each of these cells with a nice little hole for each seed. I guess I don't want to go too deep. And I'll just use a little bit of loose stuff from the surrounding area around each hole to cover it up with nice and loosely. Okay. 5 down, 45 to go. Okay. We're definitely making some nice progress now. Well, now fast forward a few hours. I took a little break and then I got on tech support with my internet service provider, and I got frustrated with them after a couple hours, and then I sat down to eat dinner and I realized, you know, at some point today I got to get back here and take care of planting these darn seedlings. So here's my layout. It's kind of an interesting layout, right? It kind of flows in and out, and even that one type of seed spans from one tray to the next. So you can see I've given each tray a unique name. P1 and P2 for peppers, right? So as we back off a little bit from my little illustration here, you'll see the finished product. The 2 trays are now in place in my little cubby hole under the stairs to the basement where I've got my grow lights. So pan up, we've got our lights here. And I've got a timer connected to these lights, so these lights will turn on and off. I believe that the interval is something in the neighborhood of 18 hours on, 6 hours off, something like that. I believe that that's what's ideal. And it's just an array of 8. It's an array of 8 tubes So there's 4 tubes that light up when you hit one of the switches. The 2 on each outer edge, and then when you hit the other light switch, the other 4 that are in the middle fire on. And now here what you have is my plants. And a couple of these little seedlings were already starting to show their seed leaves. So I tried to leave those out exposed. But this stuff is really dry, so I got to get some water in here. I'm just going to go ahead and maybe I'll even apply the water to at least one of them here while we're talking. I've already got this orange juice bottle that I've cut in half. And this is the container that I've always used to portion just enough to fill one of these trays up. So I just dug it out of my gardening supplies. So if I'm correct, then by pouring one of these in its entirety down into the bottom of one of these trays, it's going to fill up just to the right level so that all the little cells can suck up their own individual portion. So let me get that one back down in there before it gets denied its due. And you know, since this is the first time I'm applying water, I might even come back in here to make sure they don't need a little bit more. And I've gone ahead and I've dug up my little covers here, so I'll probably put those on as well just to make sure that the moisture is preserved and doesn't all evaporate away. But before I forget, I just wanted to get the camera out because I had kind of jumped ahead and come down here and taken care of doing all this. Then I remembered I was filming and trying to create a little record of what was going on here. So I'm glad I remembered right before, you know, I got finished, and I still had a chance to show what's going on here. And you can even see I've got a little extra side project over here, some stuff that's been going since the 14th of last month, since Valentine's Day. So some of the viewers out there might actually know what this is here. So I'm going to see if anyone in the comments is correct in guessing what this is. Definitely not an easy one to guess, so we'll see who's aware of what's going on in this little tray over here. I'm curious to see if anyone does. Although there is one person I know for sure, if he's watching, then he'll know what that's all about. So, all right, everyone, I'm going to make sure that the timer is set properly. I'm going to make sure that there's water in this tray as well. I'm going to put those covers on, and then I'm done for the day. So before I wrap up really quick, I just wanted to say thank you. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, as always, please remember to leave me a quick thumbs up. That's always really appreciated. And if you haven't done so already, also consider subscribing to the channel too. That's really appreciated as well. All right, everyone. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.